Welcome back. This is Marc Rudov, branding advisor to CEOs. If people keep asking what your company does, that means your brand is murky. They should get it the first time. I'm also the author of 3 books. You can see them right behind me. Be Unique or Be Ignored, Brand is Destiny, and Intra Branding, my latest book. It's all about how if you can't sell your brand internally, it will fail externally. Today's topic, you can't finagle a good brand. And that is exactly what Joe Biden is trying to do. By every measure and metric, he is a complete and utter failure. Let's look at finagle. Finagle means to trick, delude, and deceive. He is trying to convince America and the world that he's doing a great job, even though he isn't. He's going to the press and he's trying to persuade them to write good stories about the economy, even though there are no good stories to write. But because he has the media under his thumb, a lot of them are complying with it. But let me tell you something. This doesn't work. You can't fool the people unless they have IQs of 50. Let's look at gasoline. There's a red line right at the point at which Joe Biden came into office. And you can see the blue line skyrockets. The price of gasoline is $1, sometimes $2, sometimes $3 higher than it was when Trump left office. You can't mask this. People go to the pump. They know what they're paying for gasoline. You can't fool them. They go into grocery stores. They see that by all measures, food is up. Milk, meat, vegetables, it's all up. And that's if you're lucky that your stores even have groceries. Some of them don't. Let's look at wages. When Trump was in office, you can see on the graph here, in the pink zone, the wages were skyrocketing and inflation was dropping like a rock. The blue zone at the left is the Biden administration. It has flip-flopped, and inflation is up 6.2%, the highest it's been since 1990, and real wages are down. And that's from the people who are actually working. A lot of people are not working because Biden is paying them to stay home with unemployment insurance. Employers all over America are having great difficulty in getting people to work. And that is the main reason for the supply chain problem. But you wouldn't know that if you listen to Joe Biden explain the supply chain problem himself. Watch.
For example, if we were all going out and having lunch together and I said, let's ask whoever's in the next table, no matter what restaurant we're in, have them explain the supply chain to us. Think they'd understand what we're talking about? They're smart people, but supply chain. Well, why is everything backed up? Well, it's backed up because the people who supply the materials that end up being on our kitchen table or in our life. Guess what? They're closed those plants because they have COVID. They're not, and so it's a complicated world that people are facing. We've never faced anything like this before. I mean, I'm not saying it's the worst of every time in American history, but we never faced anything this sort of defiant of understanding of what's going on. And you can understand why people are upset. And whether you have a PhD or you're working, in a restaurant, it's confusing. And so people are understandably worried. They're worried. And so all I can say is what I'm going to try to do is explain to the American people as best I can.
It has nothing to do with COVID. There are ships in Long Beach and Los Angeles out to sea as far as the horizon. They can't get into port. Why is that? There's nobody at the dock to unload the ships. Then there's nobody to unload or to reload back onto trucks to distribute goods all over America. I've been talking to retailers all over America, and this is what they've been telling me. There's nobody working. They can't ship the goods around. It's a huge problem. It's not that difficult to explain, but Joe Biden doesn't know how to explain it. And he says that whether you work at a blue-collar job or whether you have a PhD, it's hard to explain. No, it isn't. Now let's look at our illustrious Vice President, Kamala Harris. She's going to try to explain to us what inflation is. Watch this.
Agenda from exacerbating the problem, and also what else are you going to do to fix this problem with inflation?
All right, thank you. Well, let's start with this. Prices have gone up, and families and individuals are dealing with the realities of that bread costs more, that gas costs more. And we have to understand what that means. That's about the cost of living going up. That's about having to stress and stretch limited resources. That's about a source of stress for families that is not only economic, but is on a daily level, something that is a heavy weight to carry. So it is something that we take very seriously, very seriously.
Can you believe your eyes? Can you believe your ears? Kamala Harris would fail a high school economics course. She has absolutely no idea what inflation is. And she has the temerity to stand in front of a microphone and try to fudge her way through it, finagle her way through it, finesse her way through it. You can't. You can't do that. People aren't that stupid. So the lesson here is, if you don't have a brand, you can't invent one out of thin air. The brand of the Biden administration is utter failure. You can't somehow reinvent that, repurpose it to be success. Everybody sees through you, even if you have a compliant press. This is not sustainable. So, I say to you, if you want to build a brand, if you want to strengthen a brand, you have to have some authenticity behind it. You have to have success behind it. You have to be able to walk your talk. I can help you with that. Just contact me at markrudov.com and I will help you. And oh, by the way, if you want me to help you with woke messaging, I won't do it. Don't even bother me. Again, Marc Rudov, until next time.